You know the dream, right? You just type something like, "Build me a sales dashboard," and poof, a perfect website appears. That's the promise of AI development. But the reality? Well, it's usually just a tangled mess of broken code. So that leads to a really big question.
I mean, think about it. An AI can write poetry, it can pass medical exams, but it totally struggles to build a basic user interface. What's going on? The answer, it turns out, is this fundamental mismatch between how AIs think and, well, how we've built the entire web.
So the heart of the problem is this massive gap between what we expect and what we actually get. We want this smooth, simple path from a text prompt straight to a working UI. Instead, we're usually left with a chaotic, frustrating mess.
And this really says it all. On the left, that's the dream. Simple, clean. On the right, that's what's actually happening. These LLMs are spitting out this convoluted, error-filled code. And there's one main culprit behind it all: verbosity.
Code verbosity? It's just a fancy term for when you have to write a ton of code to do something really simple. It's like trying to explain how to make a sandwich using nothing but dense legal jargon. The more complicated the language, the more likely the AI is to just get lost and confused.
And here's the thing. The tools we use every single day, like HTML and React, they're amazing. But they were designed for humans to write, not for an AI. And that means they are, by their very nature, verbose.
The paper that this whole explainer is based on says it perfectly. Even HTML, the absolute bedrock of the web, has this wordy, deeply nested structure that just trips up LLMs. And the more complex the UI you ask for, the worse the problem gets. So yeah, our current tools are kind of the wrong tools for this specific job. HTML is too wordy. React, that adds a whole other layer of complexity. Markdown is way too basic for real applications. And sure, you could fine-tune an AI, but that's wildly expensive and takes forever. We just need a totally new way of thinking about this.
And this is where the solution finally comes in. Instead of trying to teach an AI our complicated human languages, what if we made a new, super simple language just for the AI? Well, say hello to Gen UI Lang.
Gen UI Lang is basically a purpose-built shorthand for describing websites. It's a collection of really simple commands like row, text, and button that an AI can easily understand and string together. It's designed from the ground up to be easy for them.
Okay, so here's how it all works. The AI agent doesn't write all that messy HTML anymore. Instead, it writes a short, clean piece of Gen UI Lang code. Then, a simple compiler takes that and does the heavy lifting, translating it into the full HTML. The AI does the creative part, and the compiler handles the boring verbose stuff. It's brilliant.
And just look at the difference here. It's night and day. On the left, you've got that classic HTML form with all its nested tags and attributes. On the right, you have the exact same thing in Gen UI Lang. Just one clean, readable function. Now that is the kind of simplicity an AI can generate reliably every single time.
So, okay, this new way is cleaner, for sure. But does it actually make a difference in the real world? Oh, absolutely. The impact is staggering. Let's just look at the data.
Check this out. To generate a single UI component, an LLM spits out, on average, almost 900 tokens for HTML. With Gen UI Lang, just over 300. That is a massive reduction in the AI's workload.
And when you look at something more complex, like a big data table, the drop is even more dramatic, a 71% reduction in code size. And remember, fewer tokens mean lower costs and faster generation.
And that speed, it has a real impact. We're talking about a 65% reduction in latency. That's the difference between you waiting for a page to load and getting it pretty much instantly.
Of course, this has a huge effect on the bottom line. For every million times you ask the AI to build a UI, this efficiency saves nearly $6,000 in API costs. All of a sudden, generative UI becomes economically viable at a huge scale.
But it's not just about being cheaper and faster. Because the language is so simple, the AI just makes fewer mistakes. That means you get more reliable code that actually works, which leads to a much smoother development experience.
So this is way more than just a clever trick. It really represents a fundamental shift in how we might interact with AI to build the software of the future.
Here's why this is such a big deal. It shifts the responsibility for getting things right from the super complex, unpredictable AI to the simple, predictable language. It works with off-the-shelf AIs, so no fine-tuning needed.
It's flexible enough for custom designs, and get this, one day, a single piece of GenUI code could be used to generate a website, a mobile app, and who knows what else.
And this is really just the beginning. The roadmap already includes support for React and mobile apps, handling dynamic user interactions, and growing a whole community to expand what the language can do.
So, this leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought. Maybe the next giant leap in software development isn't about building a smarter AI. Maybe it's about us creating smarter, simpler languages for the AI to speak. The future of coding might not be about writing code at all, but about learning to speak the AI's native tongue.